Let's add one more control to our head and spine global controls locator. And that one is going to be related to how the eyes behave. And as you remember, we had set up a little rig that allowed us to blend the eyes between following or not the spine of the character. And well, actually the head. As you can see, we had initially created it here in the spine rig workspace, but I moved mine to the head and face workspace just because it makes more sense to have it there. And it's this little rig right here. So we have this transform space for the eyes control being driven between a shoulder space and a head space, which means that if I rotate the head of the character like so, right now the eye controls won't follow, but if I set this math operator to a weight of 1, then they do follow. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple of I'm sorry, just one correction to this rig, and we're gonna add the blending system to our controls over here. The correction I want to make is I don't really think that I need a shoulder space. I don't think that moving the shoulders should in this case move the eyes of the character. So what I'm going to do is instead set this as the character space so that it's only influenced by the character's main control over here. Okay, and that way we'll have the ability to anchor the eyes of the character onto anything in the scene, regardless of I'm sorry, regardless of what the rest of the body of the character is doing. So let's just do that. Let's go ahead and I'm sorry. I am going to find this object right here. Let's find him in the items list. There he is. No. There it is. Shoulder space. So I don't want this to be a shoulder space anymore. So what I'm going to do is shift select the character's main control and parent and place our locator. As you can see, it comes right here. So, and I'm going to rename him accordingly to character space. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm gonna follow my naming convention here. There we go. So now that locator will only follow the character along. Now we can see that we have again the problem of the eyes shifting because we changed parent spaces. Let's zero everything here. Let's go back to setup mode. And let's grab the eye controls. This guy and move it back over here. Let's exit. Now everything's okay. All right. So right now, for example, if I rotate the head, the behavior is that the eyes do follow. So this is head space. Okay. That's the head space of the character. And if I change this guy to 0, then we should be in character space. Perfect. So let's add that channel onto our control over here. And let's go to user channels. And it's going to be a basic control. It's not going to be an advanced control, of course. So let's call this, sorry, eyes transform space. And it needs to go from, we said this is world to head. And let's see where that gets us. It's a little bit big, the label, we can't read it, so let's see. Let's just leave it at eyes transform. Sorry. Let's see if I can further. Well, we can fool with this more, but I won't keep you there for this. I'll just rename this into something more sensible. And now, let's bring it here. Hide the dynamic parent. The control will come in with the 3 dots, meaning that it's currently wired. It's currently present in another schematic workspace. Let's wire this here, and we're done. So let's see how this works. I'm gonna go to a frame like here. As you can see, the eye controls stay in place, and if I select my user channels and bring this to 1, my eyes controls now follow the head. Now, to be able to accurately anchor this control to anything in the scene, this locator here would actually need to be a control. So let's do that. Let's actually, I'm going to give it a control so I don't need to rewire. I don't like to wire things from controls directly normally, but well, in this case it's not going to be too much of a difference. So in the name of simplicity, control center eyes character space. There you go. And let's make it into something different. It's going to be a small plane. Actually, not a plane. I'm going to do a rhombus. I never use those, so it's going to be something like that. And this, the animator will be able to grab it and move it anywhere in the scene, and make sure that the eyes stay focused on that point if that's what he wants. He just needs to set the blend value correctly, and that's all. Let's look at our channels list and make sure the eye transform is above the divider. And we didn't do this in the other video. Let's create a channel set for it. So let's see, our channel sets are down there, and let's create a new channel set. Oops, we need to select the channels first. There we go. And we'll call this one head center global controls. And here we have our little UI. And now we need to get the command for it. So let's open up our command history, and let's select. Here's the command, copy it, and I'll go back to our item in the assembly tab, enter that command, and now we should get our UI for this particular control locator. And we're done with the we're setting up our little rig for the eyes. So now we have a much better behavior for the eyes of the character. Okay, let's do one more enhancement to our rig, and we're going to basically do the same thing we did for the eyes of the character. Build a couple of transform spaces, but this time we're going to do it for the head of the character because we want to have the same effect. If I grab, for example, right now the shoulders control for the character, when I rotate it, the head rotates with it. And I might want to keep the head rotation separate, or at least that it doesn't get inherited, so that the head of the character can stay looking at a given target without the rest of the body disturbing it. So let's do a little rig that is going to do exactly that for us. And I'm going to also work on this schematic workspace. So we're going to need again a few extra locators. Let's find the head control for the character. So here it is. We have the head control. Then we have this auto rotation locator that is based on the rotations of the neck. So I believe the best thing to do would be to insert a locator in between these two. That would be the one determining on which space the head is well, moving or being transformed. So let's do just that, and then we're gonna add a couple more locators that this guy, our locator here, would be constrained to. So let's create these locators. So I'm gonna grab this guy. It looks like we already have 3 here. I think these 2 guys were just orphaned locators I created at some point during another part of the rig. So I'm gonna use the 3 of them. I'm gonna start with this one, and let's bring it up first to the neck and head controls group and reset all of its transforms so it gets aligned to that group. I'm sorry. And let's now parent it to the auto head rotator locator, which is up there. And our head control is on the same position. So let's take this locator and again reset everything so it moves up here. Perfect. And now I can go ahead and reparent my control over to this locator, and let's rename it. Head transform space. Okay, so that's what this locator is going to be doing. And let's make him a lot smaller. There he is. Actually a lot bigger, a little bit bigger for now. Okay, so this is the guy that is going to be constrained to different spaces. So let's take this locator and let's call this guy head. We're gonna call him character space head, so we know it's for the head. And this guy is going to be torso space head. I guess I could also add the suffix to the locators for the eyes. Oh well, they have it on the names. Eyes character space. I guess we could do the same for this guy just to keep the names consistent. Head character space, and this one is going to be head torso space. All right, and we're gonna match both to our locator over here. So let's drag and drop him. There's one. There's two. Now we need to parent them to something else. So the character space is going to be parented, obviously, to our control. So let's parent in place. And the torso one, sorry, let's see what we need to parent it to. It could be the shoulders control, and or it could be the neck control. Let's try the shoulders control first and see where that gets us. Actually, no, I think that we need to do the neck control. Let's try that. We're gonna try the neck control. Sorry. There they are. So we have this guy and this guy. Let's grab them and bring them into the schematic. We don't need the neck control. We just need these two fellas, and we need the new control for the head. This one. Okay, and let's add their world rotation channel. And we're going to use the same setup we did over here. We're going to use a matrix blend node. In this case, just one, because we just want to deal with the rotations. So we insert one rotation here, one rotation there. Let's add the blend channel to our matrix blend. And let's wire this up. And we have a little bit of a problem there. Let's see why that is. This item is rotating. No, it's not him actually. Let's see who that is. Let's try wiring this up in setup mode. Yeah, that did the trick. Sorry. So let's see what happens. Let's take this control and let's rotate it a little bit so the head is rotated. And let's take this guy's blend and set it to 100%. Okay, seems to be working. Now the head is set to not follow the rotations of the torso. As you can see over here. Now our character's head remains stationary. It does not inherit the rotations from the torso. Okay, so now all we need to do is include this in the controls for our locator over here. So let's check out the values on the matrix blend. 100% means I'm sorry, it's the character space. Let's see what we did for the eyes. For the eyes we have world is 0. So let's do the same for this guy. So just to keep the values consistent, we're gonna wire this guy over here and then the other guy over there. And now 0 sorry, will be, let's call this world space or the character space. Perfect. And 100% will be the torso space. Okay, so now let's wire that up. Sorry. So let's go ahead and grab this guy again. Which is here our torso and head controls item. Right now we can't select it because we have the command that redirects the selection towards the channel set, but I know it's him, so I'm gonna select it here in the sorry, schematic, and let's add a new user channel to it, and we're gonna call this one head transform. World torso. Minimum of 0, maximum of 1. All right, there we go. And let's move it up above the advanced controls divider, so it now sits atop with the other controls. I think I'm gonna also rename this guy again. we tried to do it in the previous video, but let's just abbreviate transform, just like we did on the other channel. There we go. That fits perfect. And I'm actually a little bit anal about the appearance of my UI controls. So there you go. Now they match. And now here's our new channel. We just wire this up to the blend. And there we go. Let's see. So right now it's world. Now it's torso. That's perfect. Let's type in world correctly here. I know. Perfect. So we got our last control wired up. The only thing is, if I select right now my locator, you will notice that the control is not available here, and that's because we're selecting the channel set. If you're working with the other UI that we used, the channel hall, it should pop up immediately. But in this case, what we need to do is add that channel to our channel set. So let's go and select the head global controls channel, and then shift select our object here and go and select the channel we're missing. Okay, and now we can right click on the global controls channel set and add channel, and the channel gets added onto it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. This is for the eyes. And we're basically done with wiring up stuff on our character. Now we have our head spaces working and everything. So it looks like all that's left is we gotta now work on all the controls and hiding stuff that we don't want to have accessible to anybody. And our character will be ready to be animated. Oh, quick comment. I forgot that the head character space actually needs to be a control, because the animator might be in the need of rotating this guy into a different orientation and keep it that way, and not necessarily just aligned to the character main control. So let's do that very quickly. I'm just gonna rename this to control, and let's give him a different shape. And in this case, I'm gonna make him into a plane looking up on the x-axis, because x is pointing up when it comes to the head. And let's just make him smaller, so he's gonna look something like that. Sorry. That should be enough. Actually, maybe smaller. Yeah, because this is something that should not be needed to access that often. And now we're done.